Okay, so delighted to have you all join us and be watching our interview today. So we've been doing a series of interviews, which really gives us a chance to showcase members and what they do, and all sorts of people from all sorts of different walks of life, really. And obviously, we're Dundee and Angus Chamber, so you're going to tend to be hearing about people in business and local organisations. And today we've got Wayne Paul with kind of going to start and just let Wayne introduce himself and tell us a wee bit more about what you do, Wayne, and what your role is.
Okay, nice to meet everybody. My name's Wayne Paul. As Alison said, I'm the Industrial Liaison Officer for the Graduate Apprenticeship Programme at the University of Dundee. And I have the fantastic job of helping businesses across Scotland to grow and develop their workforce through our Graduate Apprenticeship Programme.
We've been working with developing young workforce in the area for a long, long time. And I think when you're the chamber and you're trying to persuade other businesses to do this, then it's important that you put your money where your mouth is. So we've done work experience, and we've had students in from the universities doing work placements and stuff. And then we said, so we're just a tiny team. There's only, well, 8 of us, 9 of us sometimes. And we said, could we have a modern apprentice? Could we kind of cope with that? And we, our board were really great and said, yeah, let's create a new role, bring on a modern apprentice. And we had a digital marketing apprentice for a year and a half. That was brilliant. And then we were persuaded that foundation apprenticeships were kind of coming through, and there were young people that were desperate for those opportunities. Could we host a placement? We did that. And then when our foundation apprentice was kind of coming to the end of his time this year, we were exploring, well, our modern apprentice has left us now. What do we do next? Do we just take another MA? What's the position? And the young guy that was with us was really fantastic. And we talked to him and said, what are your thoughts? I wasn't sure whether foundation apprentice to modern apprentice would suit him as a route. And he said, oh no, I'm going to go to university. I really fancy university life. I think he had a couple of unconditional offers from Dundee and St Andrews. And he was already running a part-time business, dead interested in business, and said to us, nah, I'm going to go to university. And we said, have you heard about graduate apprenticeships? And he said, no. Well, yes, I think the school had mentioned it, but he hadn't really seriously considered it because he had his sights set on the student life. And I'm absolutely delighted to confirm that in 2 weeks' time he's going to start with us, and he's going to be doing a business management graduate apprenticeship with Dundee Uni. So, yeah, I mean, it's any size of business can do this, and I think I always thought it would be the large businesses that would find it most straightforward, but. And I know he didn't find it a really easy decision either, because I guess he's going to have to work 4 days a week with us. He's going to earn money, and then he's going to go to university, and he's going to work through kind of 4 years of a fully funded degree, versus maybe rolling out of his bed at lunchtime some days, working, and having to, and he was looking forward to, that whole kind of blended experience. But yeah, we're really looking forward to it. So yeah, absolutely, it's an open door. But yeah, people should really consider it. So my next question is not really work related. Well, it might be. You could tell me. What's your favourite thing about Dundee and Angus?
Oh. So I think quickly, just to touch on what you previously said, is I actually met with the individual that you're talking about. Obviously, don't want to mention any names, and I saw a lot of similarities in his path to my path. And I had a really great conversation with him after the meeting about, the options he had, and told him a little bit about myself. And, he did, you're right, he was considering standard university and that life. But, I think a key thing people understand as well is you're exposed to all the same services and resources and lifestyle as a full-time student. So it's up to you what you choose to participate in. And you're going back to about it's not just for large businesses. I think that's a key thing. And I think, to be honest, it's where some of marketing of the graduate apprenticeships in the past may have went wrong, is that a lot of it was focused more in the wording and the stories we're telling around bigger business. But we have people from all walks of life, business owners who have started their business and have reached a certain level where they think, I've got enough experience in what I'm offering, but maybe not the business side, and they come on and do the business management course. So, so it's absolutely for everybody. So there's a side to that. But moving on to favourite thing about Dundee and Angus, I've stayed in Dundee my whole life, and I think what I love about Dundee, and I grew up in Broughty Ferry and just outside of Broughty Ferry, is that you're close to a big city, but so close to both being out in the countryside, but also the seaside. I love staying beside the sea, and I think it provides a lot of inspiration. You know, when I'm really looking for inspiration and trying to develop a new business idea or come up with a solution, I usually go for a walk down the waterfront. You know, and it really that water, the calming influence, really gets you going. But I think what I love about the people of Dundee is their enthusiasm to go on and almost prove people wrong. You know, I think there's a certain portion of the population who can be quite negative or think, oh, you'll never do that, or down on success. But I think, especially in the last few years, there's a lot of enthusiasm within the city, and people want to really try and do something to better themselves, to better the image of the city, and to work collaboratively. You know, something that I've always found, regardless of which business I've been working for, is that people are really willing to help you within the business community if you just be open and honest with them and don't try to be something you're not. Because I think especially some of these networking groups, people try to sell something that they're not, but people connect with people. So they want to see who you are, and they're more likely to have faith and commitment in you and trust. And you know what? Sometimes things do go wrong, but if you make those personal connections and something doesn't go wrong, people are far more understanding if you've forgotten something or something hasn't gone the right way, than if you try to sell something you're not. So yeah, I think it's a great open city for that. I'm not to say Dundee and Ag, but just the surrounding area. Even into Fife, the business community is really welcoming and open to share ideas to try and better themselves.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. Okay, next thing then, what's your favourite time of the year and why?
Has to be Christmas. I'm a big kid. I have luckily I've got 3 children of my own now, and I've always loved Christmas. Everything about Christmas, the cheesiness, the films. I constantly quote Home Alone 2. It has to be 2 over 1, which is a huge debate because I've grew up more watching 2 than 1. The bright colours, the immersing yourself in the story, and the fantasy of life, within that world of, the smells, the warmth, the sharing, the family, the presents, everything. It just has that complete package, and it's a great thing to have at that time of the year where it can be dark. The days are shorter, and the nights are long. It's dark. The weather's not the best. It's grey when you get up, grey when you go to bed. But there's something really to look forward to at that time of the year, and I just love it. I still believe in the big man, and I believe in what he stands for. The big man is more than just an individual person. It is the whole package, and just, I think without that in your life, it gives you something to really look forward to the end of the year. So I'm going to continue that till the day that I pass away, although I hope that never happens.
We're obviously recording this during, some of the most bizarre months I think any of us are ever going to live through. But is there something that you're missing during lockdown?
My family. So two big things was my dad, because my dad is terrible with technology. He's the most awkward man to have a phone call with, and to be honest, I don't like speaking on my phone myself. So not having those conversations, not being able to go to a gig with my dad and have that, because that's our thing. Still go to gigs. Actually, a few days before lockdown, a day before my dad's 60th, we actually went through to Glasgow to see the Subways, one of our favourite bands. So that was kind of a great way to round it off, before it kicked in. And my sister, who only had my nephew in November, we always met every Saturday for a coffee. I don't think coffee, but I always called it a coffee with the kids. And so what we did, actually, we started what we called the lockdown bakery. So we did it over FaceTime, where every Saturday I'd set the table out, put the cake stands up, and make some tray bakes, bacon rolls, make a wee menu with a logo of the lockdown bakery, and we do this video call. So that kind of kept it going. But just that interaction, I think the key for us is that we've been really stringent on keeping the teens. So the kids still do school from 9 to 3. I've got a 1-year-old who just turned 1 yesterday, a 3.5-year-old, and a 6.5-year-old. So it's been a bit challenging, still trying to work full time. My wife, who starts the day with the homeschooling before I finish, because I start earlier than I finish, trying to navigate that whilst my 1-year-old's running about wanting to get into everything, but keeping that structure of 9 to 3, because it feels like, okay, we're at school during the week, we'll do our things afterwards, and then we've got the weekend still feels like a weekend as opposed to every day merging to the next. And because we've kept this structure, we've missed going on days out, but I don't think we've felt it as much as people who maybe haven't got that structure, they haven't got kids in their life, or whatever passions they're into. And we also do things like, weekend sleepovers. So we turn the living room into a sleepover den for them. We've started our own 109 cinema, which is the number of our house, and I set like a refreshment stall up in the living room. We hired a movie, and they had instead of like a McDonald's, I had old party boxes, okay, like a chicken nugget and chips, oven chips, with a wee toy. So we kind of recreated the whole scenario for them just to keep them engaged. And even the school have been giving us a country every week, and we've got to find out more about that country. So we've been kind of going above and beyond, and we've been cooking recipes from that country, doing baking from the country, watching films from the country. So again, all this stuff just keeps us occupied. So I wouldn't say that we've missed things as much, but just that human interaction, with people, because we are lucky in that my wife's gran stays directly next door to us. She's kind of attached to the house in a semi, but it's a separate house. So it's been good for her to have the interaction with us, but also, we're not breaking any lockdown rules, because literally the door is 3 meters away. So, opens the door, her morning gran or whatever else, so that was quite good as well, to keep that interaction. But we've been kind of going out once a day, when it was only once a day, taking the kids on their bikes, taking the dog for the walk. So we've managed to keep going fairly well. But, I think it's been really difficult for my mum and my dad, because they've kind of been stuck in with my dad's used to be out a lot. My mum's very ill. She has been for years. So it's been really difficult for her. Not only because she's ill, but usually going out was the kind of thing she looked forward to, just to try keep some normality. So it's been more difficult for people like that. Or my sister, whose baby Jameson's wasn't quite at the interacting level, so she kind of felt she wasn't getting that interaction with her mums. So I think it's been more difficult for people in those circumstances who haven't had the privilege of kids who are really engaging and kind of get you through the day. That was a long answer, sorry.
Don't apologise. You've obviously talked a bit about the routine of the house and how your work fits in around that, and homework. And so your work has obviously changed during the COVID crisis, but what does the future hold then for your role?
I think my role, I would say that I have no idea what the future, but obviously the programme is funded by external bodies. So there's been a huge hole of money lost and income lost. So what the funding will look like going forward, I don't know. The government obviously is really invested in getting the economy back up and running, and these kind of programs, I think, are really pivotal in making sure we continue to develop our workforce. So hopefully the funding will continue. In regards to my specific role, again, it comes down to connecting people with products and services that make life easier. And for me, looking at this whole situation, my role is even more important now than it was in January, because we have a resource that can help people through this difficult time, which is why I created the campaign of developing your workforce during difficult times, because people will still need these resources. So I'd say the first 2 or 3 months was challenging, because it wasn't the right time to be contacting the businesses about employee development. There's much bigger issues. And this is something that I was very, very firm on, that whether it impacts me personally in my role, it is not the right time to be contacting businesses. And it was only as things started to develop, maybe the start of the month, a couple of weeks before, that I really felt I was touching base with people, making sure they're okay. If there's anything that I could do outside of my role to help them, just to let them know that I'm still here. Just because I can't sign you onto a program, I have a vested interest in you as a business, because we want businesses to grow and flourish. Because without a buoyant industry, where's the need for the university? It's a snowball effect. We need everybody. Everybody needs everybody. So I was just touching bases, like anything I can do, my past experience, anything advice you need, I'm here for you. Because I do have other experience outside of just my role. But the last few weeks has been slightly different. Is letting people know that this resource is here for you. So I've been busier than ever, which has been even more challenging to work around homeschooling. You know, I've been basically starting at 6 in the morning and trying to do 6 till 12, and then do more before they go to bed, so they can help with the kids homeschooling in the afternoon, you know, and keep that going, because it is difficult for my wife with the three of them there. It's not fair for her to do that all on her own. Luckily, I've got the flexibility in my role that I'm allowed to do that. You know, they're great at, you know, they've hired me because they trust me to do the job, and I have that autonomy to be able to do that. I'm not the type of person to take advantage of that, so that has been really beneficial. But yeah, I mean, it's been just full on. I mean, I've had, you know, I've been doing radio campaigns, digital campaigns, social media campaigns, newspaper campaigns, you know, webinars. So it's been busier than ever. And I think it really helps, because some people in my type of role haven't got the marketing back then. So a lot of the marketing is done by, you know, marketing departments or outside suppliers. Whereas my type of marketing, I think it's really important for the marketer to be able to really understand what we're trying to achieve with the program, and be able to emotionally invest in that. Because if the marketer's not emotionally invested in what you're trying to sell, that comes across in the campaign. So I think it's been really beneficial for me, because I've got that background, whereas I'm really in control of that whole end-to-end journey. It allows me to really think about what it is we are offering and how it can meet the needs of the demand from businesses at the moment. So yeah, again, long answer, but I've been even more busy, and I don't see that change. You know, when applications, when the next cohort start in October, things can traditionally die down. But that's where I'm really, again, going to be pushing. I want to develop an online platform, because I think there's areas that could be developed, and really plan for the next year, and what the next, well, as months go on, we'll understand the economy a bit more. But for me, it's not about putting out the same message year after year. It's about growing and developing what the program is and how we can help people at that time, which was exactly why the program was set up in the first place, was to fill gaps that the industry had. So it's an exciting role for me. It's a great role for me. It really allows me to use all the creative juices and you know, put all the experience I've got into one package to help Scotland and its businesses grow.
Fab. We're obviously moving into different phases of lockdown at the moment, but you know, I'm interested in just asking people what's on, you know, when you can get out and about, what's on your lockdown escape bucket list?
My lockdown escape bucket list. It's I think things like the days out, so Craigton Park, it's, you know, castles, it's, you know, zoos, safari parks, you know, we are really, so every year since I was born, we go up to a place called Portsoy in the northeast of Scotland, just up from Banff, and my grandfather grew up there, and it's just been in the family our whole life. And we went up as kids, and then my dad's taking my niece and nephews up. I take the kids up along with my dad. So that was at the end of July, and I'm really hoping that things will be allowed to, because we've still got a booking just in case, providing it's safe, that we can still go up there. Because again, we love just going up there. We're going to the beaches, the streams, the parks, the outside Baxter's Visitor Centre to get a pancake, because this is the best pancakes in the world. It's like the size of a dinner plate. And ever since I was a kid, I was amazed at these pancakes. And, you know, it's probably in my head, but they are the best pancakes in the world. Jam and butter, Baxter's jam, it's just fantastic. So all these little things that I've now transferred onto the kids. The kids love going up there and playing with their cousins. And, you know, so just getting outside in the outdoors and not restricting ourselves to the 5-mile radius. You know, it needs to be done. We need to make sure that we do everything we can to ensure that it doesn't flare up again. But when it opens, it's really just about getting outdoors, because the kids love being outdoors and going on these adventures and the mystery tours. You know, the best thing as a kid was jumping in my granddad's Jeep, and he would take us on a mystery tour. I mean, there was nothing mystery about it. It was just roads in the country. But as a kid, it's how you, again, it's storytelling. It's how you position what you're doing. And it's the same when we're up in Portsoy, we're going days out, we put these stories, these imaginations, and we just let it run wild, you know, which is a great thing to experience, because it makes the world a more magical place.
I love it. Yeah. If you had a message for people out there about what you've learned about yourself during kind of your world of work and business, what would it be?
Absolutely, to not take yourself so seriously, and put into perspective I think that the quote that I went through, because I mean, I'm notoriously bad for over-analysing everything. I have, I'll be quite, I've never said this in public, but I've had a lot of confidence issues in the past. I got bullied when I was a kid because I was overweight, and that's always stemmed into my adulthood. And I think a lot of what I've achieved, I never was able to appreciate what I'd achieved. I saw it as a failure. My film, even though it was such a fantastic experience and a feat, an unbelievable feat, I saw it as a failure. I actually went into a deep battle with depression because I saw myself as a complete and utter failure for not doing more in the industry. And really what I'm getting at this is for people to understand, to have confidence in yourself, to really trust in what you're doing and understand that you can, whatever's happened in the past doesn't have to shape your future. You can change what's happened. Even if you've made bad decisions, if something's not went right, it ultimately you're in control of your future and your destiny. And if you put into perspective, we're not even a grain of, a grain of sand in the universe, or whatever the quote is. Really focus on enjoying a life. For all we know, there is only one life. There might be something else, but we can't guarantee it. So we need to try and enjoy every day and take it as it comes, and wake up knowing that the day you have ahead, it will not be exactly the same as the previous, because nothing's ever the same. One great quote to finish this answer was, when you look at a river, you think that a river is stagnant, but that river is never the same because it's constantly flowing. So that is, that picture is never the same. There's something is always changing, and that's the same with your life. There's never too late to change, and that could be the smallest thing to the biggest thing. But believe in yourself, and if you need support, please seek it out, because I was reluctant at the time to seek out support from a depression, and it led to me being in a really bad place. And it's a lot more open now, but you see so many people who are sadly taking their lives at such a young age, regardless of the age you're at. There's so much support out there, and people want to help. And that's something that I realized, is that it's okay to get things wrong or things to not go right. People are not going to judge you for that, and if they do, they're not the right people you're associating yourself with. The people who are most valuable are the people who will be there for you through thick and thin. And that's really something that over the last few years that has really changed my attitude and really helped me grow and enjoy my life a lot more, because I have an amazing life and I wasn't at times able to appreciate that.
That's a really, really nice way to finish it, isn't it? So just to conclude this, thank you so much for taking part. It's always really, really interesting to kind of hear everybody's different take on our questions. But how do people get in touch with you if they want to chat, if they're interested in graduate apprenticeships or anything at all?
So I think the easiest thing, instead of giving a web link, is just type Graduate Apprenticeships Dundee if you want to find out more. If you want to contact me, you can either email w.paul@dundee.ac.uk or just simply ga@dundee.ac.uk. Ultimately, when you contact me, I'm not a salesman and I have no interest of being a salesman. I will let you know what the program is, how it can help you as an individual. And that's really what I want. I want to speak to people and understand their business so we can make sure that it's right for them, because we're not interested in offering a transactional service. We want to develop relationships, we want to help you grow for the long term. So it might be you're not in a position to take on an apprentice now, but it's something you're looking at a year or 2 or 3 years down the line. I want to be there on your journey. I want to keep in touch with you, to see what you're doing, to understand, to enjoy your successes, to help you if something's not going well. And if you decide in 3-4 years' time you want to utilise the funding, great, but there's no pressure. It's just, I want to help people.
That's fantastic. Great. Well, thank you so much for taking part. Really, really appreciate it. It's been really interesting listening to you, Phil. Thanks so much.
No problem at all. Nice to be here. Thank you.